This is a ridiculous controller, but I'm actually disappointed with two main features. This is the GuliKit KK3 Max. Yes, this is the King Kong 3 Max you have all been asking me to review. I've actually had this for way longer than you would expect, but I'm finally getting around to reviewing it now. And yeah, I'm left a little bit disappointed, but let's crack on. So in the box, you actually get a lot straight away. You get this. So in here, we've got face buttons to turn it into an Xbox layout. You've got these back paddles, which I've just jankily put them in because I've been using them. But anyway, you get those. And then inside as well, you get this, which is like a random hard case, which, you know, is pretty cool. And then you get a licorice wheel as well. Yeah, cool. So I was quite happy to see we get a hard case, but I do have a little bit of a gripe with this hard case at the same time. This is the problem, right? They've put this in here. Why not put it in there? Because if you've got the controller with the back paddles attached, it doesn't fit. So, you know, you have to remove the back paddles and then carry this around and this, like, why? But anyway, inside here, we get this, the little dongle thingy, and then we get the tweezers as well, which lets you remove the face buttons. Let's go over the specs. So it's got 3 types of rumble. So it's got a patented Maglev vibration motor inside. It's got Hall effect sensing joysticks and triggers as well. We've got high precision joysticks at level 2200, allows for more delicate micro control. Yes, so basically they're really sensitive. We've got up to 1,000 hertz polling rate via the use of that dongle in there or wired. We've got patented smart trigger to switch between analog triggers and digital triggers. We've got 4 rear paddle, you know, attachment thingamajigs. We've got the 6 metal rear paddles, which, you know, you can chop and change and all that stuff. You've got the PC button kit, which they're calling, which is the, you know, the Xbox kit. And it supports Windows, Switch, Android, and iOS. It does actually have NFC as well. Now, on top of that, on the website, it says it's got 2nd generation mechanical buttons. More on that later. It's also got a 4 and 8-way D-Pad mode, so you can change that. You've got 3 different settings for the joystick, so you've got 50%, 100%, and 150% as well. You've got turbo, you've got macro, you've got button swap to the back paddles as well. There's just so much going for this. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this actually has like gyro as well, so it's got motion controls, which you can even assign to a trigger so that it only takes effect once held, and it doesn't matter if the game doesn't support it, this will like force it to support it. Now, the first thing I did when I got this was update the firmware. So you just go onto the GuliKit website, download it, basically extract the folder that you download, plug this in, and you hold a button combination. I think it's the like funny looking button and A, I think it is, and then the controller basically appears as a drive on your PC. Then all you need to do is drag the folder that you extracted, or the file, the .bin file, into the root directory of this controller, leave it for a couple of seconds, and that's done. It will eject itself from your computer and it's updated. But they do recommend that you calibrate the joysticks after upgrading the firmware. So to calibrate the joysticks, and you could do this at any time, is L, R, left on the D-pad, and A, and hold it. The lights will then start spinning in a direction, and basically you just then start spinning the joysticks for a few seconds, and then it will vibrate or whatever to say you've calibrated it. Now I've got all of that out of the way, let's take a look at it. So I really like the design. I mean, it's just an Xbox controller, isn't it, really? But, you know, what's wrong with Xbox controllers? Nothing, really. So this design, really nice. Asymmetrical, but super ergonomic. If you just naturally rest this, look, the way my hands flop down, my thumb is immediately going to that joystick. So this is super ergonomic. There's no messing around there like with the rubbish Switch Joy-Cons where, don't even get me started. But anyway, the ergonomics of this are really nice. Like this a lot. And I actually really dig this mattified rubber. So this feels more akin to the Elite series of Xbox controllers. I've got one of those, the core one, I've got the white one, and it's got this like rubbery material all over it, and this is the same. However, this is not a fingerprint magnet. Usually these are like super grease heavy, and whilst yes, this I reckon will get greasy, it's not immediately like greasy, you know? If I do that, nothing really shows up. It will get scuffed, that is something to mention, but the premium feel of it, you know, the feel is premium, and on the back we've got this lovely, lovely scratchy texture. I can't hold it still enough because I'm so close. But yeah, so it is actually a really nice sort of laser material, maybe. They've probably lasered this, but it's actually really decent. I like that a lot. We've got apparently mechanical buttons, lol. We've got a home button, we've got a screenshot button, we've got a settings button, we've got whatever they call this one, I can't remember, APG or something, I don't know, but some other button. We've got plus, we've got minus, we've got the D-pad, we've got the joysticks, and then on the top we've got L, R, we've got ZL, ZR, we've got the switcher just there, so you can see the modes that you can switch it from. So you've got the dongle, you've got Android or iOS, PC, and switch. So you can actually swap around on the fly with this. Then this one over here is the sync button, and it also shows you your player number. We've got a USB-C here, and this has got like ridiculous battery life. They're claiming up to like 30 hours or something, but that's basically with all the features and lights turned off. So really, if you're using rumble and RGB LEDs, you know, at a certain brightness setting, plus let's say turbo and macro, you're probably looking at about a 12-hour battery life, I would say. But yeah, okay, cool, still good. And then on the back, we've got these two switches just here, which change the throw from an analog throw to a digital trigger. So you can actually swap them. Now, of course, the Switch really only accepts digital input. So if you're only using this on Switch, pretty much just put it to the digital trigger. It will be much better for you. But if you just like the throw of analog or whatever, then you can use that. However, obviously, if you're using this on PC or Steam Deck or anything else like that, and you're playing a driving game that supports analog triggers, well then this can do that. It basically shifts inside the controller like a little thing left and right to either use analog or the digital. It's pretty cool. More on that soon. Then we've got these, which are the back paddles. So we've got 4 back paddles, and you can actually just press them. Like, you don't need to put them in. So if you've got like long fingers, you could actually just press in there, you know, like you could just press that if you didn't want the actual things, so that it's not in the way. Inside the box we get this. Okay, so we've got the Xbox layout. This is your tweezers, and basically you just grab one of the buttons and pull up like so. This is the button I've just removed, and it is A, and basically you can see the switch under there. Mechanical, lol. So you've got the button under there, and you can just swap them out for whatever you want. I'm gonna keep them as the Switch layout because that's how I'm using this. So I'm just gonna push it in, done. That's it. Then on the back, what we've got is these little hooky things. So you basically just put it in at an angle and then kind of jam it down a little bit, and it's supposed to go in. I found these actually like really stiff to put in, but once they're in, they're fine. But it's not as easy as like the Elite controller from Xbox, the official one. I found this a little bit stiff. I've had to kind of like jam them in a little bit. They just didn't feel like overly smooth, but once it's in, right? But I don't like rocking all 4 at the same time because they get in the way. If I'm holding the controller, you end up accidentally pressing them. So I find just having the top ones in is better for me, and most of the time I only really reassign L3 and R3 to the back paddles anyway, unless it's like something specific I really want to change. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do. So what I've actually been doing is rocking these. So I've been putting these little paddly things in. So there we go, these are the ones that I've been using, and you kind of just like hold it like this and then push down on them, and they stay out of the way. They're not like in the way of just holding the controller, you know, you can just rest your fingers on them, and I actually prefer this layout. So I just rock these 2 weird little flappy things, and that's all I've been doing because I just prefer that. It actually has wake from sleep, so once you've got this, there we go, bam, and I'm in like this, right? And I'm in Prince Persia because that's all I've been playing recently because it's amazing. But yeah, so this is what it looks like with the RGBs on. The lights actually indicate different stuff. So depending on what modes you've got and stuff you've set depends on the color. It's functional RGB and I massively prefer that. That makes it useful in my opinion rather than just a battery drain. But yeah, the controller feels lovely. Like this feels really premium. This actually, I would go as far to say feels as good as the official Xbox Elite. But let's just have a quick look at what the buttons and everything feel like. So the buttons just here are apparently mechanical, but to be honest, they're not mechanical. They are not mechanical. These are just membrane buttons. Like, there's no way these are mechanical, because if you know what mechanical is, it's a mouse switch like this. So it clicks. So this is a that is a mechanical switch, right? It's actually got a mechanical mechanism which then goes down and clicks a button rather than a membrane, you know, being a piece of rubber being compressed onto the board. This is not mechanical. Right here, I've got the MobaPad M6 HD Joy-Cons. Amazing, by the way. These have mechanical switches. Are you ready? This apparently just has mechanical face buttons. Listen to this. That's not mechanical. I'm just saying it now. Prove me wrong, go for it. They're still okay, you know, they're nice. There's no sort of pre-travel or post-travel. They're good buttons, they're just not mechanical, you know? So the face buttons are nice, they're all consistent as well, which is very nice. The bumpers seem okay. There's not much like going on here in terms of pre and post travel. All the other buttons are just like the same kind of, the very mushy, like membrane buttons there. The triggers then, let's have just a feel of these. Now I've got this in digital mode and there's a lot of pre-travel. With digital mode, I would have wanted it to be like super quick, like super actuation. I actually have to push it down a lot. Like this is not even actuating, right? I have to keep going, click. There's the digital switch. So there, at that point. So you have to still push it like way loads before it actuates. Now, obviously in use, if you're like really determined to press that button, it's gonna be fine, but there's a lot of pre-travel and there is even post-travel as well. So I'll show you just here. Pre-travel for the click, and then it still goes past that, so that's post-travel. Pre-travel is the distance between it being like rested to where it actually clicks, and then post-travel's how far it goes after it's actuated, right? So unfortunately, quite a lot of pre and post-travel on these with the digital mode, but if we switch that over, it now goes into analog trigger mode, which increases the throw, and that's fine. You can still play on the Switch with this, but there's not really much point. This feels a bit nicer, it's a bit smoother, but obviously then there's a massive distance to press. So if you were playing like FPS games, you'd want it on this because it's almost like hair trigger mode, almost, do you know what I mean? Whereas with this way, it's more for like racing games and stuff like that. This is the digital, that's the analog. So you can see the distance I have to press down there to here. So it's almost like half the distance for the digital trigger. But it's good that it's actually got the option that you can choose between an analog mode and a digital mode. I'm just a bit sad about that pre and post travel. Oh, and I forgot to say, you can swap the button layout as well. So if you're changing the physical buttons to an Xbox layout, what you need to do then is press the settings button and the plus button together, and then that will swap A and B and Y and X ready for, you know, an Xbox layout essentially. So now let's look at those joysticks. So yes, this is Hall Effect Sensing joysticks by GuliKit. They feel really nice, you know, they do feel nice. We've also got anti-friction rings around, which is this RGB LED stuff there, and we've also got metal caps there. These do pop off as well, so you can just pop these off if you want to like swap them over or whatever. They do feel a little bit loose. There's a decent amount of friction there, but I just wish they were a little bit tighter. I like it being a little bit more restriction, you know, a bit more friction behind the joystick. Really, I can't complain. They're really good joysticks. So it actually has no dead zone mode automatically applied, but if you want dead zone, then you can apply it with a button combination. But you can also change the stick like sensitivity area. So out of the box, it comes on 100%, right? So it's got 100% coverage. But if we press the settings button and the right stick in, you see this now turns to like a turquoisey, tealy green color. Well, now this is in 150% zone. So effectively it's made the zone bigger, so it's faster essentially, right? And if I do it again, setting plus that, it goes like purpley pink. And now look at that. I'm fully maxed out to the right, and it's not even meeting the edge. So it's made it 50% the zone. So we're like halfway. If I press that and that again, it resets it back to 100%. Now, I don't really use this personally, but maybe you've got a use for this for like FPS games and stuff. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I've just left it on 100%. It's been fine for me. Now you can assign motion control to either L or ZL, and you do so by pressing the cog wheel and that. There's 3 different settings of the gyro. So 1 vibration is low, 2 vibrations is medium, and 3 is high, and then a long vibration is like disabled. So I've just put this into like second mode. So if I press this and that again, that's 3 vibrates. So if I hold this, it's going to be really sensitive. So this is not the game to be showing you gyro, but the gyro is good, and you know, you can assign it to one of those buttons. So really, if you're playing FPS games, you'd probably want it on this one, which is like look down sights. Do you know what I mean? So that you can then like micro adjust. And if you press that and the button again, I just long vibration cancelled it. And whilst we're going over all the like features and button combinations and stuff, you can also change the brightness of these RGB LEDs or just turn them off, which will give you better battery life. Super easy to do. It's just cog and left. I mean, I've just made it brighter. Cog and left turns it off. So the controller's still on, but you know, it just turned off all the lights. So controller and left, I've just been leaving it on like the middle setting. So it's like sort of low, high, or off. Now let's look at the D-Pad. So this is the D-Pad, and to be honest, in feel, I really like it. It's got a nice concave on it just there. It still protrudes quite a lot from the actual controller itself, so you can get some really nice rolls on it, and it just feels good to me. Like, I do like that a lot as well. And I wanted to just show you the D-Pad a bit more. So if I push down and kind of rock it backwards and forths, yes, he does move a little bit, so it does kind of roll onto those left and rights, as you can see now. And if I do up and down on the left side, it kind of starts kind of trying to crouch and stuff if I do it quite forcefully. So that is a thing. However, this does actually have 2 D-pad modes. So you've got an 8-way D-pad mode and a 4-way D-pad mode. And to change that, what we need to do is press the cogwheel and right on the D-pad. So now that's going to go blue to say, hey, you've done something, right? And now, see, I'm pressing down and rocking left and right, and he's no longer going left and right because it's no longer an 8-way D-pad, it's just a 4-way D-pad. And if I press left and go up and down, he's not looking up and down anymore, and the same with right. So you can cancel out that kind of like spillover thing, you know, that was happening prior. So this is really good for like platforming games like this, and whereas 8-way D-pad is going to be better for like fighting games where you want to roll and stuff like that, you know, roll the D-pad. So I actually really rate the D-pad, like this a lot, which is good because most controllers D-pads suck. So let me show you button swap, turbo, and macro. So we'll start with the button swap. So I'm going to swap a button to the back paddle just here. So I'm going to press the settings button and then the back paddle at the same time. It's going to vibrate once. I'm going to press jump, and that's now assigned it. It vibrated to say, oh, hey, you've assigned B to that back paddle. So now when I press that back paddle, look, he jumps, and it's actually a true button swap because small jump just there, large jump just there. So great, you know, love that. I really like that. Really easy to use. I like the back paddles quite a lot, and very, very simple to assign, you know, and it's a true button swap as well, where it actually acts like that button. If you long press, then it will do a long press move. If you short press, it will do a short press move, rather than just like a bog standard small macro record of it. And to cancel it out, you just do the same thing. So settings, and then hold that like little bumpery triggery thing on the back, and it will just cancel it out. Let me show you turbo. So turbo is where it will just repeat the action for you. You've got 3 different modes essentially, with 2 modes and then an off. So I'm going to press the cogwheel and let's do it to B, right? So B, and now if I just hold this down, do you see how Mario's just jumping indefinitely for me whilst I'm holding it? This just stops wear on your buttons, and also it makes it less tedious if a game needs to hit all the time. I used to use turbo a lot with Animal Crossing, you know, a while back, and this works really well. You know, there's nothing wrong with this. Let's press turbo and B again, or the settings button and B again, and now if I press it once, he's just going to do it for me. So I could go away and have a cup of tea or something, you know, even though I don't drink tea, but whatever. And then to cancel that out, well, pause it, I can press B again and it will stop. And if I press B again, now he's going to do it for me again. Now to cancel it, it's settings and B, and it does vibrate to say, hey, you've like cancelled this, and now it's just acting like a normal B. But you cannot assign turbo to the back paddle, and I find that kind of weird because quite a lot of controllers let you do that, but you can't. So just to prove a point, look, so I'm pressing this, and that's the back paddle. If I press the settings and then that one again, well, now it's just cancelled the back paddle out, because that's how you assign and cancel, is just by pressing the settings and that. So yeah, turbo doesn't work with the back paddles because it just cancels it out. So that's kind of sad because, yeah, okay, I suppose you don't really need it because you could just assign it to one of the face buttons, but still, it doesn't work. Now we do have macro as well, like proper macro, and this lets you record 10 minutes of macros. Usually it's like 20 inputs or something like that. No. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And it's not just buttons either. It's actual joystick record as well, and precise joystick movement. It's not just like a left or a right. It is like any movement that you will do with your joystick, it can record. It is absolutely mind-blowing. This has got to be the best macro ability on a controller that you can get. Tell me if I'm wrong. Just tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, and tell me what controller it is as well. But this thing is ridiculous, like absolutely ridiculous. So to do that, we're gonna hold down the funny little like Windows button just here, right? So I'm gonna press and hold, and it's gonna vibrate, and then I can do jump, jump. I'm gonna go left, right, like look up, look down, and all that kind of stuff. Spin round, do this, do that, and then I'm gonna press it again, and done. Now what I need to do is press, and now he's gonna do that for me precisely what I've just done. And you can even, without interrupting that macro, go left and right with the joystick. If you want to keep doing stuff, if you wanted to like go through a level whilst doing all these weird moves, then you could do that as well. And if I double press, did I double press it? I might have double pressed it, but if I double press that, it's now just going to keep doing that for me. So it's going to play that macro up to 10 minutes long, just over and over and over and over again. So if you could literally do anything with this. This is just ridiculous. There you go. Like, Mario's just freaking out all over the place, going, why am I all crazy? Like, and then to cancel that out, we can just, you know, press a button or whatever. And if you want to completely cancel the macro, you can just hold this down and it will vibrate, and that's it. It's just done, you know, you've turned it off. So we've pretty much gone over everything now, but we're coming to the big bit, right? Which is looking at the vibration, the rumble, because their whole massive thing is their patented maglev motors or whatever. And basically this controller offers 3 different types of rumble. You've got standard, bog standard rumble, right? Just like brrr. And then you've got HD linear motors as well. So you've got an actual HD rumble, just like the official Switch stuff, right? So it's got an HD one. And then they've got their crazy maglev HD rumble, which is another linear rumble, but they're touting it as being strong. This left quite a lot to be desired, and I'm actually disappointed with it. It's kind of annoying. I actually kind of turn it off and use standard rumble as opposed to like one of the main standout features, which is the HD rumble and their maglev HD rumble. It's just, there's interference going on, it's way too loud, and it's not even that nice feeling. Like the standard rumble feels nicer to me. And let's have a look at it, shall we? So to adjust rumble, what you need to do is press settings and down. So I'm gonna press settings and down. It's vibrated 3 times, and that is just to go into normal HD rumble mode. If I press settings and down again, it vibrates once, which puts it into standard rumble mode. If I press settings that again, it vibrates twice to put it into the maglev crazy thing, right? So I've chosen this on purpose for Mario Wonder because when you walk over these blocks, with HD rumble, it can actually make a tune, right? So I'm going to show you first with an actual official Pro controller from Nintendo, the official Pro controller, and the HD rumble, and hopefully you'll be able to hear this via the microphone. So each individual note being played there is actually audible just from the vibration motors. The HD linear motors can actually replicate the sound because they're that precise, right? So that's the whole point of HD rumble, is it's like crazy precision, feels really nice. I actually find on the official Pro controller and on the Joy-Cons, it's a bit more subtle than most controllers, but I like it, you know, I like HD rumble. And even the Mobipad Chitu HD controller that I've reviewed in the past, quite a while ago now, that had HD rumble, and it was good, not as good as the official, but it was good, and even that is better than the GuliKit KK3 Max in terms of HD rumble. So now we've got the KK3 Max back on here, and I've set this to standard HD rumble, so it's meant to be replicating the original Nintendo official stuff, right? But take a listen to this. Now, it sounds to me more like some sort of alien interference. Like, that doesn't sound like HD rumble. It's ridiculously violent. Like, it's very, very strong and loud, you know? Like, it's really It's really jittery. Yeah, all I'm hearing is interference. I'm not even really hearing each individual note. I can hear it trying to, but it just sounds horrible. And honestly, in feel, it's quite jarring. Like, and it's so loud. Like, if you're playing with the sound off, you're gonna hear this going, like, it's just weird. And that is just the freaking normal HD rumble. This isn't even their Maglev, like, crazy strong rumble yet. I haven't even got to that bit. So let's get to their Maglev one. This is now the Maglev rumble. So the Maglev rumble is meant to be even more strong than the HD rumble. And the HD rumble is already ridiculous anyway. So let's have a listen to that. Yeah, okay. I mean, straight away, it sounds like I've got some roadworks going on down the road, you know, with some added interference. I'm not hearing any individual note there. It's horrible. I really don't like it. I'm sorry. If you're like into really ridiculously like hard rumble with some added interference noises, like, you know, when you put your phone near a speaker and it goes like that is what this does with like hideous rumble. Like, I really don't like it. I'm just being honest. Don't like it, sorry. And now we're into normal rumble. So this isn't trying to replicate like really precise things. It's just going, it's just rumble. And this is the better option because it loses that interference. It just has a nice, deep, low vibration, and it feels a lot nicer. It's not as harsh on your ears. I'm not hearing any interference. Like, it still sounds like a jackhammer, like beating a road, right? Because these Maglev, like, freaking motors are ridiculous. They must be huge inside the controller. But yeah, this is the normal one, right? Can you hear that that is just a consistent tone? So it's just the same vibration over and over. It's not trying to do different pitches and change in like frequency, I suppose, you know? It's not trying to do that. It's just, there you go, there's rumble, and I much prefer it. You don't hear it as much. It's still freaking intense, but you don't hear it as much as you do with the other ones, you know? And yeah, it's good. I prefer this. It's more consistent. It's not as horribly noisy. I just prefer the type of rumble. And obviously it's not as intense as that all the time because it depends on what you're doing, but I'm just showing you here like worst case scenario. And also, when I was playing Prince of Persia and using the HD rumble and the Maglev one, when I was just actually playing it rather than just like forcing the rumble to be on all the time, the HD and the Maglev one was doing that weird, like almost artifacty frequency kind of interference noise, like randomly. So depending on what you were doing, obviously depends on how intense the rumble was, but sometimes it was just like, all you could hear was this weird like interference. I mean, GuliKit, tell me if I've got a dodgy model, but I really don't think I do. I think this is what you've intended because you want it to be super intense, but I just don't like it. And the funny thing is you can adjust it from the default strong to like low or weak or whatever, and it basically doesn't do anything. So to adjust it, you need to press the settings and up. Now that's done a long vibrate, so that's actually turned off rumble. So this is actually like fairly pleasant because it's not so freaking intense. But anyway, so you can turn off rumble. If you press it again up, that's now gone into low mode. But to be honest, the low mode is still really intense, and it's still got that like frequency, like interference thing going on. So yeah, okay. And if you do settings and up again, that's now put it back to default, which is strong. And there's, I would say if you're really gonna use their HD rumble stuff, put it on weaker, but it's still not very nice. And so the two features that I were really looking forward to, their Maglev super strong HD linear rumble and the mechanical face buttons, which they say on their website with like a big thing, like second generation mechanical buttons. I really don't think these even have mechanical switches inside them. I think these are just membrane buttons. And their rumble, which is the big hurrah thing, it's just not nice. You know, those are the two things I was really looking forward to. I love mechanical switches and I really like HD rumble. I thought this was gonna be like the one to rule them all. And when I started testing this, I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. And I'm sure like so many other YouTubers probably thought that, and maybe some just do face value reviews, I don't know. I try and go a bit more in depth. And the further I went down the path with this, the more I realized like actually, there's a couple of things like that I don't like. If you don't care about mechanical switches and you don't even know like, you know, what the benefit of that is, don't worry about it. You know, these are still probably really good. I haven't had any sticking or anything like that. I'm just upset that they promised mechanical switches and it doesn't seem to have them at all. And also, if you're not fussed by HD rumble, stick it on the normal rumble. This is great. Like, I like the normal rumble. It's very intense, nice and low. It's not hideous. It's not like, you know, it's none of that. It's nice and like low rumble. But the HD rumble and their maglev thing, nah, I don't like that at all. Everything else about the controller, brilliant. Like, I really like it. You know, the feel, the sticks, all the like different button combinations, the crazy macro, the turbo, the back paddles, the freaking throws on these. I mean, I know there's like a lot of pre-travel, that's kind of annoying as well. But in general, this is a very, very good controller. I'm not denying that. But the two things I was most looking forward to are the two things that I was most disappointed by. So this is not a cheap controller. So yeah, I mean, personally, I'm probably going to still use the Mobipad Chitu HD, which doesn't feel as premium as this, but it's got the things I want. Mechanical face buttons and actual HD rumble that's decent, and it's still got back paddles on it. It's just got two. So there we go. But yeah, this is a brilliant controller. I'll keep using it, but yeah. So what do you think? Do you think I'm a bit harsh on this controller? Are you like, Andy, no, you're speaking a load of rubbish? Okay, cool. Let me know down in the comments. And whilst you're down there, like this video, subscribe, become a member, and you'll be able to watch these videos early, because why not? All tiers do that, by the way. And check out mine and AJ's podcast over here about all things gaming, weekly podcast where we just talk a load of rubbish. Come and hang out with us and check out another video. Maybe check out the Chitu HD video that I did down here. Bye.